watching Keeping It Green. I'm your host, Debbie Klughers, and today I have with me longtime environmental educator and activist, Mr. Peter Maniscalco. Hello, Peter.
Hi, Debbie.
Thank you so much for coming to Keeping It Green.
Thank you for having me.
No problem. The last time we got together, we did a drumming over at the Sacred Tree in Southampton to try to help work out the land issues going on at that location, and now I've got you in the metal studio here.
Well, that's okay. It's still
that is okay.
Pleasant space to be together, yes.
Very good.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming. Why don't you tell the viewers a little bit about yourself and your work?
Well, for 30 years I've been an environmental activist, and where I began was that I moved back to Long Island in 1973 and was working as a clam digger. I'm a formerly educated city planner, and I did that for 11 years, and then it really no longer made sense for me personally. There was something missing for me, and I didn't know what it was. So I clammed for 4 years, and it was a spiritual experience for me to begin to connect with nature in such a personal way, to earn my living directly from nature. I would have my sons and my daughter on the clam boat so that they became familiar with the beautiful everyday sights of, seeing ducks and seeing baby ducks and just being out in the weather. And
what body of water did you clam on?
I clammed the Great South Bay.
Nice. And that's kind of done now.
Yes, unfortunately, that way of life is almost done, and it's a beautiful, beautiful way of life.
But we're trying to bring it back.
Maybe that
there
will.
is restoration plans for the future. But
Yes, and that's really wonderful.
Yes.
So as I became more attuned with the natural world, I heard about the Shoreham nuclear power station being built in 1978, and I became an opponent then in 78 because I knew, the beauty of the land, the beauty of the water, and that it shouldn't be threatened by a nuclear power station.
Why not?
Well, there's many, many reasons. Some of my spirituality was taught to me by Navajo shamans. Shaman is a man or a woman who is in direct contact with everything in the natural world and is a healer both for his or herself and also for the community. And as I worked with the Navajo people, I found that most uranium for nuclear power plants was mined on their land. And the Navajo consider uranium mining a form of genocide against their people.
What part of the country was that?
This is the American Southwest, the desert Southwest.
Okay.
And what happens is uranium is mined, and very little usable uranium is taken from the ore. And so there are mountains as high as our bluffs on Long Island Sound of radioactive dust that blows all across these reservations. Wow. It poisons the things the sheep eat. It poisons the water. The people get poisoned by it, and they have a horrific cancer rate.
Wow.
And we are never told about that.
Yeah, I was going to say, I haven't heard about that.
Right. Nobody knows about the whole front end of this industry. And plus, all of this uranium mining, all of the processing, all of the creation of the fuel rods is done with fossil fuels.
Right.
It's not carbon neutral, as we're told. That is not true. And so
they're saying the output at the end is carbon neutral, but the whole process is all intertwined.
Right, and then the end result of nuclear waste, radioactive for tens of thousands of years. Is that our gift to the future? Good God, I'll tell you, the people are going to look back at us and say, what was wrong with those people?
What were you guys thinking?
What were you thinking? So at any rate, I became an opponent. And one thing that was interesting was that being a city planner, I did certain things. But when I became an opponent, I had to begin to become a community organizer. I had to learn how to write press releases. I had to learn how to speak before the press. I had to learn to do many things I never did before.
So this is just something internal just came out? And
intuitive. And it really shows the great resources everybody has. We all think, well, I can't really do anything.
Wow.
But we have vast, vast resources that we can tap into.
Untapped, right?
Yes, untapped, that we can tap into and that we can use. So I became very involved in that. I eventually became the coordinator of the Stop Shoreham campaign. But at the same time, I was studying with these Navajo shamans, with Hopi spiritual leaders, eventually with shamans in South America in the Amazon jungle.
So this is more of a connection with the earth rather than a community of Shoreham, this plant going up. This was more of a deeper connection that brought you to
Yes.
opposing the
Right,
plan.
right. These two things were going on at the same time. I was evolving as a human being, learning what I had never been taught. And I was learning experientially by the Navajos, particularly, were very kind to me. They brought me into some of their most sacred ceremonies, and I understood at the deepest level of being my connection. For example, you could do ceremony with them for up to 1 to 4 days where you can't drink water. Believe me, at the end of 4 days, you understand what water means. And when water is brought in, it's revered. It's always put at
As
an
it should
elevator,
be.
as it should be, right. Without water,
We're
each of us
done.
would die.
Yeah.
How many of us say thank you to water? The way a Native American has no problem doing that or saying, I love you. I mean, this is the essence of life, and we just take it for granted.
I go to the sea and I thank the sea.
All right. The Great Mother. We all come from the sea. So it was an experience for me where I was doing something as an activist, learning something spiritual. They were kind of flowing, ebbing and flowing together. And it was wonderful for me to be an opponent of the plant because it was my way of saying thank you to the Native people for what they had done for me.
And this is very timely with what's going on in Japan right now. You know, that you're bringing up what you opposed 30, 40 years ago,
Right.
you know, or 20, 30 years ago. And now here we are today. Thank goodness that plant didn't go forward. Who knows what could have gone wrong? I mean,
It's the same plant. It's the same design, the Shuron plant.
Wow.
You know, and the misinformation and the arrogance of the people in Japan, you know, the utility people, the nuclear people, they have the same, the nuclear scientists, most of all, are so arrogant when it comes to, you know, well, we can never have these accidents. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about anything in nature. Everything's taken care of. And that statement is so arrogant. This is a fire that you can't put out,
Right.
as we're learning. And hopefully, this horrific crisis, you know, we all send our love and prayers to those people, but let's use this to create a new world, a new vision
Right.
of energy.
we'll learn from these past mistakes and going forward. We've got plenty of resources to power the planet, as
Yes.
we both know, and we should be utilizing. I mean, before all this technology came forward, the Earth ran fine with the sun and the wind, and everything was good. And we can go back to that with the new technology that we do have. We can go back and utilize the sun.
Right, but we have to claim it. There's so much power, there's so much money that's made from nuclear energy and fossil fuels that they have virtually bought the Congress.
Right.
And so
The
people,
plastic industry, I mean, my goodness.
the people watching this program have to make a deep connection in some way, know that it's part of their life, their children and grandchildren's future, so that they will take an action. They
Right.
will demand action, basically.
That they're going to have a future that's all similar to what we've got, but better.
Yes.
Not
and,
worse.
And I want to leave this on a positive note. Somebody recently asked the shaman, well, there's so many things wrong in the world. How can we ever overcome everything? And the answer was, don't ever forget the magic. And the magic in the universe is that when you and I or the people watching do a very tiny thing, no matter how small it is, it gets magnified. That goodness, that love that's expressed
Sure.
is the magic that gets magnified and
Grows.
helps us accomplish our goal.
Perfect. And you're going to do a little gift to us to help us feel some of that magic, maybe form a connection. Why
Yes.
don't you explain what
All right. Before,
you're going to do?
Okay, I'm going to do a shamanic drumming experience. But before doing that, what I'd like to explain is that having been an activist for more than 30 years and studying with Native American people or indigenous people all over the world for 30 years, I began to understand that whether it's nuclear power, whether it's plastic, whether it's climate change, all those issues are symptoms. They're really not the deepest issue. The deepest issue is the human disconnection from the rest of nature.
Sure.
And so, to me, we're not going to resolve these issues until we reconnect with nature. Now, I found a quote.
We are part of nature,
Right,
but
right.
we've just removed ourselves.
Yes, yes.
So-
and think that we are somehow going to live.
We're above it.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to live without the planet.
And so I found a quote from Albert Einstein, and I want
Nice.
to read
Let's
it.
hear it.
The intuitive mind is a sacred gift, and the rational mind is a faithful servant. We have created a society in which we honor the servant and forgot the gift.
Wow. Pretty profound.
And that's coming from a scientist.
Right.
And so
He was pretty connected, though,
yes,
to
he
nature.
was.
Very much so.
Well, he absolutely understood
Yeah.
that the mystery, the intuitive sense is the gift. And then we use the rational mind to manifest what we learn from the gift. The rational mind, or science in particular, maybe this is a topic for another show, thinks it's going to do everything. From this point of view, that's not going to happen. So at any rate, so we need to find ways to reconnect with the rest of nature. And one of the ways to do that is through shamanic drumming, which through the resonance of a drum, it puts people into a slightly altered state. And in that slightly altered state, we get intuitive insight on how to move forward, action to take, maybe issues we're working on. And so what I'd like to do...
Is it a form of meditation?
It is a form of meditation, yes. And so I'd like to do the drumming experience, with the viewers. And then afterward, after we finish the drumming, just kind of meditate for a minute. And they could email me, and I'd appreciate an email, or get in touch with you so that we can get feedback on different insights that people have.
We'll put there's your email address. So peteronlongisland@yahoo.com. Feel free.
Okay.
And any other issues, maybe to see what else is going on, what you're doing, and how they can join your cause and
That'd be
work
great.
together.
Yes, yes.
Very good.
And I'd very much like to connect with people that are connected to different spiritual centers or environmental centers where I could come and lead this experience, or really guide this experience for people. It's a wonderful thing for children to do. I've had great success with college students, with younger children. I do it with my grandchildren. It's really really enjoyable.
Very good.
It's a nice way to learn.
Very good. Very interesting. Whenever you're ready, sir.
Okay. So what I'd like to do is I'm going to beat this drum, say for approximately 10 minutes. And then when I stop, I'm going to beat it 4 times. And that's the cue to come back, to stop whatever is going on and come back into your everyday consciousness. And then I'll just beat it a little while longer to drum people back. So I want everybody to understand that everybody has a round-trip ticket.
Okay.
I don't want to go searching for everybody in some altered state of consciousness. So everybody has to agree that you have a round-trip ticket. And I would just like to ask you to relax. If something is disturbing for you, for one of the video people, one of the people watching, they could just open their eyes, look around the room and see that they're grounded. Everybody is safe. And like I said, when I finish the drumming, you're going to be in a slightly altered state, or at least some of you. And I would just like to ask you to sit there for a minute or two and just feel, the beauty of that moment. Are we good to go?
We're good to go.
Okay.
That goes right through you.
Hmm. It, like for me, I feel well, first of all, the beat is the heartbeat of a fetus. This rapid beat is the fetus's heartbeat.
Mm-hmm.
And so in putting us into this slightly altered state, it brings us really into a womb experience. That the first sound we hear is our mother's heartbeat. And so it brings us back into a primal womb experience where everything is born, everything is possible. And I think we forget how much power we have because people try to disempower us. But you are the universe in the form of Debbie, and I am the universe in the form of Pete, and we actually have that power available to us when we know that the universe, reconnect to it, and then we act as heroes in this life, in our own life.
Hopefully.
Hopefully. Well, yes, we're going to do this. Yes, I say we're going to do this. Yes.
Okay, be
All
the
right.
hero.
Yes, be your own hero in your own life. Right.
Very nice. Thanks, Peter.
Well, thank you.
So it would be good if people could shoot you an email,
Yes.
their thoughts, their feelings.
I'm going to lead this drumming experience at the Earthstock Festival at
Up at
Stony Brook.
Brook,
Yeah.
April 29th, is that?
It's a week-long, I don't remember the exact date. It's on the Stony Brook website. I believe it's on the 24th.
Oh, okay. But I think it goes through the 29th, maybe.
It goes through the 29th,
Okay.
yes.
Good.
So maybe some students or some people from that area will be in that area could join.
And what else could you, what other advice could you give to the viewing audience to help out on a local level, a global level, a personal level? Like, how could people harness this kind of energy or?
Well, I mean, see, I'm not, that's not my role. My role basically is to work as a guide to help people get inside of themselves.
And figure it out.
Because
Wow.
everybody has their own answer.
There you
Everybody
go. Has their own talents.
has their own talent, right? Everybody has their own creativity. And so my ability is to help guide people to that place in themselves so that they can manifest the purpose of their life, which brings ultimate joy. And that's what this life experience is meant to be.
And spreading the joy.
And spreading the joy.
Spreading the love.
Spreading the love.
And the peace.
Yeah, that's right. If we are that, then we naturally
Right.
spread it, just like this plant or a flower. I mean,
Sure.
it just stands there.
And it does what it does.
And it does what it does. Either you
Right.
get it or you don't.
There you
But
go.
the plant is happy.
Right.
And the flower is happy. So we're going to create a joyous group of people.
Sweet.
We're going to do things that are worthwhile and loving.
good.
And we're going to save ourselves and this planet
There you go. For the future.
for the future. Well, for ourselves and the future.
Oh, you know what? I'm not so worried about us.
Well, you speak for yourself.
I mean, we're doing what we're doing.
You be a martyr.
All
Yeah,
right,
okay.
all right. I mean, we're gone in, a very, very blink of an eye. We're gone, seriously, and it's what's left for the rest.
Okay, so
you can laugh at me. Plenty of
I'm
people
not
do.
laughing at you. I respect your point of view. It doesn't happen to be mine.
I'm a blink.
I want to enjoy this
I'm a
also.
blip. We're coming to the end of the show, and thank you so much, Peter, for
Thank
coming
you.
out.
Thank you. It was a real pleasure.
And once again, keep up the good work.
Yes, you too.
Thank you.